Morning everyone. Right, just obviously out with the dog today. Right, as you can see, there she is. Right, it's doing a normal prowling. Right, ears up, hearing something. Right, but just thought I'd have a chat. Me and the wife, Lizzie, we went out last night. Went to Granville theatre in Ramsgate. Lovely little theatre actually. First time I've ever been there. Nice little bar on the front. £5 a pint, no, but it's like, or £6 a pint, and £4 for a Coke, whatever it was. But that's roughly what it was like. Right, but we went and watched 50s and 60s. My mum was supposed to have gone, but she'd double booked herself, shall we say. So me and Lizzie went. Obviously the boys are with Nanny, and lovely little venue. Really good. They got nice slopes there, so if mobility issues is great. They've got ways in and out, which is really good. I was quite lucky because even the small steps, I can do a few small steps pretty well, so those I could get down and get to where I wanted. Only thing for me, obviously, is the darkness. It was quite dark at times and then quite bright at times, so I'm going from one aspect to another, which really throws the brain out, trying to look at it. So that did throw me a couple of times, and obviously with the theatrical lights flashing as well, they drove me a bit balmy, but it is what it is. And I forgot to take these glasses, so they didn't react, so they weren't stopping out some of the light. Oh look, Sierra, this is what she does in the park. She walks along this little one. Normally she falls in from here. See, look, the back end's going. She's going to dip in a second, I reckon. I wish she'd stop drinking out of here, but she loves it. Upward. But she then sees the ducks over there and she wants to go at them. Didn't you? Go on, missus, you know you fall in there, so be careful. Yeah. You're quite a dyspraxic dog, you. Yeah. Right. But yeah, we went there last night. Nice little venue, like I said. Seating, a little bit awkward getting in and out, but we worked with it. A couple awkward moments, but nothing major. But the audience age group was more my mum's age group, should we say so. We're talking like 60s, 70s plus, if you know what I mean. And something with that age group sometimes can get quite wrapped up in themselves, because someone might have a cane, this one's got a cane, that one's this, that one's that, but they're not very perceptive of what's going on around them at times. So obviously they were walking in front of me with a cane. I mean, all they've got is like walking sticks, and I've got the cane trying to highlight I can't see them, and they're just literally walking in front of me. But I get it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't offend me, that one. It's just with age, these things happen. But it's just, at least I'm aware of what will occur. But apart from that, it was all good. The only thing I will say is where they had their ramp, it was quite undulating in places, which obviously up and down, and I was like catching my feet every now and again. And when my leg was a little bit lazy, like I said yesterday, my neuropathy was kicking in, so the sole of my feet was so tender and sore. I mean, it's quite a weird one. Neuropathy, it's like tingling, constant tingling, pins and needles. Yeah, and you know when you get the intensity, but then the moment touch happens, it just intensifies it. It like goes on steroids, and literally jolts you back into reality at a certain point. And so that was happening yesterday as well. So walking up and down and then getting caught by the undulation, that made me a bit wary. So I had to be a bit more careful. So I was quite lucky there, and enough handrails around, which was great. It's fantastic. They literally had enough points of contact that I can keep hold of something. which you don't find in many venues. So it was actually quite good. They had like the crown handrail on one side, and they had metal handrails the other side. So they were quite good to hold on to. So in that respect, very great for stability, to keeping you upright. The wheelchair access obviously was great because of the ramps. And there was lots of wheelchair users, which was fantastic for them. But overall, the whole night, actually a lot of fun. I was embarrassed a few people, like, because I can sing quite loud, and I was singing away to one song because they asked us to all sing along, and I was belted out, and I think I was louder than some of them using the microphone. So yeah, so the people around us was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Oh well, sorry." I just forget myself at times. When you're enjoying a song, you enjoy a song, then you got to sing your heart out. Like, singing the music, it don't enough make you feel good. Yeah, always have done, always loved it. Right, music is one of those that we need as humanity. We need music because it does. When we get the right tunes, the right tone, the right hertz, it makes us feel so good. Yeah, so enjoy it, which is what I did. But it's where the faces and some of these other people were like, they were gobsmacked. One lady next to me, she was like that. Oh, she just couldn't believe how loud it was. It was quite funny. And Lizzie's like next to me, nudging me, going, "Come on!" I was like, "Sorry." But yeah, no, that was all good. Right. And yeah. Oh, hello, Sarah Bear. Oh, big yawn. Hey, you big girls, didn't you? Have you caught the squirrel yet? No, but I went for one, Dad. I did see that. I see you run for one, didn't you? Yeah. Right, there we go. Sorry, just had a breather. Right. But yeah, just thought I'd let you know on that one. But the Granville Theatre, if you do have mobility issues and disability site, they were really friendly. The staff were like, "Oh, do you need help? Do you need an extra hand?" Right, fabulous. Without even pre-registering or anything like that, they were just nice and they were friendly to know what to do, and that was lovely to experience that without having to ask for it. And some businesses are fantastic. They are brilliant. I'd hands down go there again, and I think we will. But then I've been to other businesses like Duke of York's restaurant in Dover. I can't remember, it's Brewers Fair, I think it's a Whitbred company. They don't like criticism, shall we say. So I always message people, just say my experience was to give them an opportunity to take some learnings from it. But when a business defends it and they're not worried about what your opinion was, straight away tells me they don't understand disabilities. They're not sympathetic, they're not empathetic towards that. And that business wasn't for me. And I sent this back trying to justify everything they did. The moment you try and justify it, you straight away don't believe you've done anything wrong, because you're not listening to the person. Right? I try and feed back to give you an opportunity to take some improvements. Ask me, okay, so why did you feel that? Why is this? Why is that? But they don't. All they did was they defended instantly. That to me is the normality of businesses nowadays. But I've got to give a special mention and a special shout out to one particular business, which was Pure Gym in Dover. They were going through a transitional period where they got rid of their management staff and they got someone else, and this young lad was managing it, but he didn't handle the whole situation very well. It's a long story, but generally I wrote an email to their head office, to their director or the CEO, just to highlight what I'd gone through trying to register as a disabled person. There was no you have to sign up, then you have to get an introduction into the site but you can't book it until you can activate the app, but you have to wait for someone. And I was trying. This young gentleman wasn't responding to any of my emails correctly. He wasn't reading them, he was rushing it, which is his age, he was young. He was making an error. I got that. But then I fed back to them and told them all this, and then they got one of their area guys to contact me, and they come up with a new system. Anyone that needs a special introduction to the gym for all the fire safety and everything like this, and the health and safety side of things for being disabled, they've put new procedures in place. So that's what a business should do. They listen to my gripes, my issues, and they went, okay, yep, we'll take some learnings from this, which they did. And it shows you the complete difference between them and the likes of Whitbred, who were defending their position, where Pure Gym realised, actually, we have made an error. This has slipped by. We didn't notice this problem, but thank you for bringing it to our attention. And they've done something about it. And when businesses do things like that, I've got all the time in the world for them, and I will promote them, because actually you've learned from a mistake that you might not have been aware of, which is what learnings are. It's like you might not be aware of everything, so you might need to listen to someone who has that experience. And I seem to find this in lots of places and lots of businesses, that they have all these policies and procedures, and they say they do this, they say they do that, but who do they ask? Who do they get who's experienced in disabled problems? And I can say this from my own experience. I worked for, I said before, Jewson's, Saint-Gobain, which is now Stark UK. I worked for them, but the health and safety on it, yes, we had all these risk assessments and method statements, blah, 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 and they're all done by people like my friend Tony, who's a red chartered health and safety guy, but they don't experience disabilities. They don't understand disabilities because they haven't got one. Yet they're writing all these risk assessments and method statements because they think they know best. Well, the problem is, you don't if you've not experienced it. Right, I put the video up yesterday about Dover Council with St James's shopping park, where they've signed off, because they used to work with the planning and all that with Jewson's and that, with the amount of architecture drawings I've seen in the past through previous experience. I know it's got most of the information on there. So they knew on planning stage how limited that walkway would have been. Yet they still signed it off, and they didn't ask for adaptations. You can easily make sure there is 1.5 metres space from one thing to another, width-wise, all the way along. And make sure that either the centre is clear or the sides are clear. One or the other. You either put everything all in one spot in the centre or to one side. That would have been the easy way, but they didn't. But that's what it is. Right. This is where they need to listen to people with disabilities, in wheelchairs, motor scooters, everything. Yeah, so not every disability is the same. Like I keep saying, I might be good in one aspect, but poor in somewhere else. Where there might be someone else who's really good at that aspect, but poor in another area. Yeah, I think I'm going to go back and sit down, because I'm getting a bit, my knee's getting weak. Yeah, but yeah, I think I need to start up a business to do with risk assessments and method statements for disabled people, because I will understand, and I think I should get in more disabled people to test sites as well, because I think a lot of businesses could do with that. As much as they follow their risk assessments and all this, I know when I was at Jewson's, we was like, oh, have the disabled people got access? They did. However, looking back at it now, it wasn't signposted, it wasn't directed, there was no clear way for them to understand how to get into the building at all. And it's still like that now. I know that, because the last time I've been up there. And that will never get changed. And they wouldn't put a ramp in at the front door. They literally wouldn't. They wouldn't pay for it, because, like most businesses, they always say, oh, health and safety is our priority. However, when it comes to spending money because of health and safety, they seem to go really quiet all the time. And that's the problem with procedures and policies by businesses. They look at finances to be more important than the safety and welfare of customers and patrons that use their sites and use their places of business. They become second-class citizens. Yeah, you're a customer. You just cause an inconvenience if you have specialty needs. But we never used to be like that. But that seems to be the case nowadays. Yeah, sorry, I sort of gone on a rant this morning again. I think I do it every day, don't I? But it is what it is. But through education, through understanding, through knowledge, people might change. Yeah, so fingers crossed. Yeah, people will learn and we'll move forward. But I'll just give you my little outlook of where we are today. Right here is Sierra. She's sat back down there, having a little look around, isn't you, missus? But we're in the park and we're overlooking Dover. Right, yeah. And obviously just below us we've got a road, yeah. But if I looked out that way, you look out to sea, yeah. And just behind the trees there, we have Dover Castle, yeah. I love that castle, it's beautiful, it really is. Such a fantastic thing. Yeah, but there we go, guys. Rant of the day. Have a good day. All right, my little burgers, take care.